James Moore.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to join in this debate on this private member's resolution, which of course I'm in full support of. I wish first to pay credit to the Honourable Prime Minister for allowing this debate so soon after, as well, the incident in the United States of America, which has triggered protests, and rightly so, throughout the length and breadth of this world. And I wish also to thank the Honourable Member for Christchurch South for introducing, first laying the resolution and introducing it today before this Parliament. So this is, as has been said by all the speakers, no trivial matter. And this is major, sir, because as the Right Excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey, National Hero of Jamaica, said, a black person who is unfree anywhere means that all black people, any part of the world, are not free. That injustice against any black person, any part of the world, is an injustice against all black people. And we watched in absolute horror, so last month, when for 8 minutes, 46 seconds, a policeman in the United States of America, sworn by oath to serve and protect, intentionally, with absolute mens rea, took the life of a person for no other reason than for the fact that he was black. He knelt with his knees across George Floyd's neck and intentionally took away his life. Looking like if it didn't matter, it was just like if you're killing an insect that is bothering you, hands in his pocket, kneeling down. 3 other policemen there watching. People telling them, look, the man gasping for breath, calling for his mother, saying he can't breathe. I feel no pulse on him. Didn't matter. Sir, you're an attorney at law. In the criminal practice, sir, you yourself would have tremendous difficulty defending in such a case, because that is murder number 1. I don't care what he was charged for, sir. At first he was charged, it was murder number 3 or something. So, and then to change it now to murder number 2 afterwards. At first, in fact, the coroner said that he did not die because of the asphyxiation, because of the knee on the neck. That is what we'd have to deal with. That he died from something else, when the whole world, sir, saw what happened in those 8 minutes, 46 seconds, sir. For no other reason than an allegation that a $20 was fake. So in other words, $20 worth more than a man's life, but then black lives don't matter to some people and in some countries. Something that didn't turn out to be fake in the final analysis anyway. But so even in the terms of the charge, murder number 2, you can't charge him for murder number 1, because I'm not an expert, of course, on American law, but I believe if one person in the jury were to say that is not murder, he goes scot-free, period. Scot-free, as hundreds, thousands previously before him who killed, murdered black people went scot-free. It is just, sir, that today we live in an age, of course, where everything is on video, everything is on social media. So what is done is seen by a whole world. And that Police in America now have the cameras, and even those don't work well because incredibly, just a short 2-3 weeks after that incident, you get another one where 2 policemen murder another black man whose only sin was to be sleeping, tired, waiting at a Wendy's. That was that person's sin. And from that, his life is lost. Shot in the back, running away, no threat, physically or otherwise, to the policeman. Laser gun that can't harm you, can't injure you, but 2 shots in his back. Because the American police is trained to shoot, to kill black people. Because black lives do not matter to them, they're nothing. After all, America had a law throughout a large part of its history that black people were only 3/5 human. Case in 1877, sir, that verified that even after slavery finished in America in the 1860s, that black people are still not worth anything. They're only 3/5 human beings, and to be treated as such. So for years and years, black people lynched in America, killed black men, the churches burnt down, their districts burnt down. North Carolina, some black people in I think the 1920s set up a district, thriving Black Wall Street, I believe it was nicknamed, and white people go and burn it down. Nobody charged. A white woman alleges that a black man looks at her, white men go and lynch them. Dead. Nobody charged. Ku Klux Klan. Elements of which still exist in the United States today, sir. And in other parts of the world, people of similar ilk. And that is what the world in 2020, the third decade of the 21st century, has to deal with still. It is abhorrent, sir. And it has to be condemned. And I'm quite frankly proud that people all over the world, black, white, Indians, Muslims, have marched and protested as one in a movement against what is clearly systemic and institutional racism and minds of individual people, too many individual people, that this is how you should behave. And when you look at it, sir, most of these people preach a Bible, you know. In these southern states in America, it is Bible. They're God-fearing. They don't believe in abortion, you know, because that is killing a human life. But a life of a child not yet born is worth more than the life of a black man or a black woman who was shot in her home in the United States of America, still I believe, with police going into her home, her castle, and no knock policy, go in and shoot her dead. Just like that. Another one, sir, last year or 2 years ago, St. Lucian, close to our home. White policeman, woman going in an apartment which isn't hers, saying that she thought it was hers. I don't know how you could mistake your own apartment, your own house of abode, your own yard, shoot the black man dead. And this is what has been going on in the United States of America for decades, for centuries, sir. And only now, as I said, because everything is on social media, this phone device, sir, with camera, transmits to the whole world that something is happening. If not, all of these policemen, all of these people will be getting away still with this. Because you had an incident, sir, again about 4 months ago. A black man jogging on the road, keeping fit, sir. Why did that this morning before I came here? Jogging on the road. And a father and son in some truck take out the gun, corner him, call somebody else, man dead. Because he should not be jogging out there. He has no right to be there. And then tell lies that the black man was attacking them. Not charged. No charges laid for 3 months until other evidence comes out to show that they are lying. So in other words, a whole system, sir, institutionalized against black people. The police, the prosecutors, the judicial system, sir, and you know the judicial system, because I don't understand, sir. The concept defies my understanding, sir, and experience. How you could have a judicial system where you have to be elected, sir. You gotta run for the post like a politician in the United States. That is what it is. So that itself breeds corruption at the bench in the United States of America. So everything's slated against black people. And America, happy, sir, with that at the political leadership level. One of the top United States politicians, when asked to say that Black Lives Matter, he can't say so, sir. The words can't come out of his mouth. He says all lives matter. He can't say Black Lives Matter, sir. You know from that how he feels, sir. You don't have to have or be a genius and Einstein to understand how he feels about black people, if he can't come to say that, sir. But the reality, sir, is that black people are at the bottom economically of about every society in the world, sir. And this is something, sir, that, you know, the Honorable Member for St. Michael said it, that this is the moment, sir. Quite frankly, I believe that if this moment is lost, by the time most of us in here die, sir, not much can change globally. If this moment is not taken by the crux of its neck, no pun intended, sir, and utilized. Because black people throughout the world, in virtually every country in the world, sir, are at the bottom of society economically, sir. In some places, yeah, blacks have the political power. That is true. But not the economic power, sir. Here we had a last decade, sir, where you had an all-black government. That is true. But at the whim and caprice of corrupt practices, sir. And you know, it's not lost on me that the former Prime Minister, he used to say, sir, on many occasions, even in this Parliament, how you have corruptors and corruptees too, where he knew what he was talking about. In other words, that you shouldn't only blame his ministers for being corrupt, but you got to blame those business people. He used to say those words, business people, who corrupt them. And we know who the business people are, who used to corrupt a black government. A black government, sir, in the last decade, between 2010, 2008, and 2018, Democratic Labour Party, sir. So that is what we have to deal with, sir. And that is what has to be addressed. The fact that black people are at the bottom of the economic ladder in every society virtually in the world, every country, even where they have political power and domination, sir. It will not happen here, sir. You heard the member for St. Michael South Central speak just before lunch on the issues of transparency and accountability and integrity, sir, which has to inform this government, which does inform this government and must inform any future government of this country, sir. But we know the genesis of this, sir. A period of slavery starting 500 odd years ago, where Europe systematically underdeveloped Africa, the Caribbean and Asia. Period of colonialism, the worst period in the history of mankind. And you know, the Jews talk about a Holocaust, and I'm not, sir, in any way belittling that, sir. And I understand the Jews, sir, their fight for their race, and I admire that, sir. But 6 million people dying, sir, in a short period of time, when millions and millions and millions of people, black people, died all over the world through colonialism, sir. Those who didn't die, sir, physically died from other things, sir. And the depression and the deprivation and the inhumanity, sir. Man against man. In the name many times of the church, sir. And I'm not getting into any fight with the Church of England, sir, the established church here today, sir, the Anglican church, but they have to make reparations too, sir, and apologies just don't cut it, sir. The honorable member who just spoke from St. Peter spoke and drew the reference up to 2 weeks ago. Yes, I was there. The honorable Prime Minister speaking about people being, you know, not wanting to come forward, and we hear that all the time, black people, and all of this, sir, is part of the psyche that we have to fight. That a lot of black people don't feel that their place is at the front. That they naturally go to the back, and you have to tell them, come up to the front. And church has a lot to play in that, sir, because as we know, Church of England, as defined by the Anglican church here, where black people couldn't sit in the front pews, they were reserved for white people, sir. And the church that, yes, most of us, including me, born into and baptized in, perpetuated that, sir. And of course, the church and the state were the same. Up to 1968 in Barbados, when you had legislation disestablishing the Anglican church, separating it from the state, sir. So the church has to, in my opinion, sir, further examine its role, sir. And the church in Barbados too, the Anglican church, the traditional church, sir, still own a lot of land, sir. Still own a lot of land that was obtained from the blood, sweat, tears, and death of black people, sir. The slaves, and coming up even after slavery, sir, where you had located lands at where, you know, you live on the plantation land, you had to work on it. So, and if you leave the plantations, employ, sir, you had to take up your chattel house and leave the land. And the church has to examine its role and determine, sir, about giving the land that it has to the descendants of the slaves whose ancestors were responsible for the church obtaining all this land. Not only in Barbados, sir, but all over the world, sir. The Catholic Church, one of the richest institutions in the world. So, sir, this is where we are, and this is what this debate is about. Because racial discrimination and oppression has to be overcome, sir. We can't be in 2020, sir, having to deal with this. And sir, you know, a lot of people see me, I suppose, they don't know me. I still, even though I'm a public figure, like to maintain some privacy, sir. People see me, yeah, see me someone always smiling, sir. Not always smiling a lot, but no, I can be very serious, sir. And I would want to speak about what informs me, because like the Honourable Member for St. Peter, sir, as he said, it is a question of your character formation, sir. I mean, at age 16 months, sir, my parents took me to England. My father went there to study law. I lived there for 5 years, sir. 16 months to 6.5 years, sir. The formative years of my life, of my mental capacity, my psyche. Early to mid-1960s. And everything I remember about England in that period was based on race, sir. Based on race. A white man, I in a bus with my mum a day, and I remember these things, sir. A white man telling my mum, oh, he's going to be a bus driver, like, you know. And my mum saying, no, he's going to be a lawyer like his father and grandfather and uncle. White man was so embarrassed that at the next bus stop he got off the bus. White people spitting at you in the road. You go to an apartment which is in the paper for rent, and you see a sign, no dogs, no cats, no blacks. I being the only black child in the school, and one day a white student throwing a stone and almost taking out my eye. And the teachers, calling my mom saying, boy, this happened. Taking me to a hospital, my mom going there. When she reaches, I there sitting down by myself. Teacher left me there and gone. That is England. That is what we're fighting against, sir. 55 years almost after. People will want to tell you, and this is relevant to us, sir, because each and every one in this house here has relatives in England, sir. And some people, that was the time, sir, when a man called Enoch Powell, a member of Parliament, spoke about rivers of blood, sir, a speech that people still remember now. I think that was about 1967, 68. That too many black people and Indians coming into England, sir, and there can be rivers of blood, race riots, because you're going to kill these people, sir. England, of course, subsequently got racial discrimination legislation, sir, which outlawed then the legal racism, sir, but the institutional and systemic racism still continues, sir. In England, as it does in all of those white majority countries, sir. That is the reality. And so it took me a good 30 years to overcome those psychological scars of racism against me before I could go back to England, sir. I went back to England, sir, passing through to go to a law conference, International Bar Association conference, sir, and and you read these things in history, sir. History was my best subject. I'm a student of history, sir. But then to see it, sir, to see it before your eyes, to go in the museums of England and to other European countries, or to European countries that were colonial powers as well, and seeing all the jewels of the third world countries, of the Caribbean, of India and Africa in these museums, the mummies, the crown jewels that the Queen puts on her head, and the Star of India and the rarest diamond of South Africa, all of those in the British museums, and the Tower of London and those kind of places. And you go in France and you see the same thing, and Paris, astounded by Paris and the gold. And other European cities, in Italy, and the gold that was stolen from our territories up in European museums and monuments, like if they belong to them. And question of reparations on the table, sir, for the last 2 decades or more. More than 2 decades, yes, but coming to the fore just over 2 decades ago and nothing ain't happening. No reparations made. Yes, here and there, university in England would say, yeah, we can give University of the West Indies $20 million. Okay, yes, I commend them for so doing, sir, but no planned systematic return of reparations to Caribbean people, to African people, to Asian people, to what was done to our people, black people, sir, over centuries, sir. And we ask, understandably, sir, for reparations in terms of health and education, sir, because these are the two areas now that can uplift our people, sir. And when you look at health, sir, we even know, sir, a disproportionately high percentage of black people in America getting COVID. Well, that is not by chance. So that is systematic, because black people don't have the access to health care that in America that other races have, that white people have. First thing, you got to pay for it, right? In a lot of cases. And you don't care two tails about them. They could die. Don't matter. They're statistics, sir. Well, that is how the American political leadership as it presently stands look at them. And studies unquestionably showing, sir, that a large percentage of black people suffer from hypertension, sir, high blood pressure, because of history, because our ancestors were slaves, sir, mistreated, under pressure, sir. You don't even like to think about it. And that has passed on from generation to generation, down to this generation, so that a significant percentage of Barbadians and Caribbean people suffer from high blood pressure, certainly after age 40. And diabetes too, sir. All of that connected to slavery, sir. All of that connected to what we're debating here today. All of that is why Black Lives Matter and why reparations should be given by these countries that raped our people and our countries, to bring some kind of balance, that in good consciousness, this is what should be done. Education, same thing. Education, same thing, because by education we could be uplifted. Here in Barbados, because we can't just speak about racism and the history of racism in other parts of the world and not about Barbados. Of course, as we all know, and as was said here today, Barbados was built up as the perfect slave society, the leading slave community in the world, the only colony to form another colony in the Carolines, the perfect slave community. Tremendous wealth made by British slave owners, slave traders out of Barbados. A Barbados that today, sir, struggling. The government of Barbados doing its 250% best for our people. But we should not be in this position, sir, because we were the wealthiest colony in the world one time. All the money, all the resources repatriated to England. Multimillionaires benefiting, sir. Benefiting with Lord this and Viscount that and Earl this, sir. All of that is what we're dealing with in this debate here today. But sir, and sir, I will say this because a lot of people don't know this. Sir, the Right Excellent Grantley Adams, sir. The Right Excellent Sir Grantley Adams. Barbados was the first country in the world, sir. Certainly the first country in the Commonwealth that banned South African goods in the 1950s, sir. The Honorable Member for St. Michael East spoke about it today. Sir Grant Lee Adams, as he then was political leader of Barbados, banned South African products from coming in Barbados, sir, when we were still a colony. And people say how he was a conservative, sir. And that is why, sir, as a student in Ottawa in 1985, I marched, sir, in front either the United States or the British, I can't remember which one, High Commission, embassy there. Because at that time, of course, Britain's Prime Minister was Margaret Thatcher, America's President was Ronald Reagan, could not understand why they should sever economic ties with South Africa, sir. Nelson Mandela in jail since 1964. And his colleagues in jail. And England and America supporting the apartheid regime of South Africa, as Margaret Thatcher said, is her kith and king, white people in South Africa, so she ain't going against them, sir. I marched an afternoon with others, sir, and this is not, sir, a white-black thing here, no, because they have white people, sir, who, as I said, marching all around the world, protesting against this here too, sir. And Barbados would find itself left behind, sir, if, as the Honourable Member for St. Michael East said, we do not seize this moment here now. That is the truth, sir. The moment has to be seized. The young people, and we've seen it, are calling for it, sir, to seize the moment. And I again, sir, commend the Honourable Prime Minister of this country, sir, who as Minister of Education and Culture in 1999 established a National Heroes Career and Gallery Development Committee, sir. That committee comprised people of all colours, sir. It was multiracial. David Commission, now Ambassador Commission, was on it, sir. Alexandra Cummins, sir, and this report, sir, laid in this Parliament. So, sir, I can speak to it. Penelope Hyman, sir, Henry Fraser, Carl Watson, sir, had white people on it too, sir. Recommended the removal of Nelson's statue, sir. That's 20 years ago, sir. But we hear now this is now a controversy again in Barbados, sir. Report laid in the Parliament of Barbados, and I strongly believe, sir, that if the Honourable Prime Minister continued to be Minister of Culture, that we would not have to be debating about Nelson here in Barbados today, sir. But you know, in 2001, she was shifted then to the Office of the Attorney General. But there's I know, sir, that committee, sir, had town hall meetings, 3 town hall meetings, invited and obtained many written submissions, sir. And the reality of the situation, sir, is that you can't have a Horatio Nelson statue in National Heroes Square, sir. The then Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Owen Arthur, came to that conclusion. It is a dichotomy, it just don't operate, sir. Nobody is talking, certainly I'm not talking, sir, about taking it down and pelting it in the wharf, sir. There's Maritime Museum, there's Barbados Museum. I could go in, sir, and you know, I know that the Honourable Prime Minister has spoken that this is a wedge issue, sir. So people are free to speak their personal beliefs on it, sir. So my beliefs may not coincide with everyone in this Parliament, sir, and I accept that, sir, but that's what a wedge issue is. But I stand firmly behind the fact that it is abhorrent, and not only to black people, sir. It's abhorrent to Barbadians on the whole. It's abhorrent to white Barbadians too. And this farce and pretense and goebbel propaganda that how, less British tourists can come here, if Nelson is not in Broad Street. That is the highest form of nonsense, idiocy that could be perpetuated in this country, sir.
Honourable member has 2 more minutes.
Sir, the fact of the matter is that symbols and psychology matter. Symbols matter. And this is clearly shown, sir, and again, the honourable member for St. Peter spoke towards it, about how children used to draw, in his time, would draw pictures of a female who was not black, sir. Case Brown versus Board of Education, 1954, United States of America Supreme Court, where white dolls, at least evidence given by the psychiatrist in the case, psychologist in the case, that black children were given white dolls and black dolls and told choose a doll, and they would invariably choose a white doll. That is the kind of perpetuation of psyche against black people throughout our history, sir. 1954, no different in a lot of parts of the world than 2020, sir. And that Nelson saved Barbados from the French. That is what I used to hear, sir, when I was at school. That Nelson was good for Barbados. He saved Barbados from the French. Like if French colonialism was worse than British, so it was all the same thing. It's true the French had the Code Nord, but Britain had everything that was bad as well. There was no difference, sir. It's abhorrent, and it continues today, sir, in terms of how the OECD treats towards us as a people, as a country, fighting to build up our international business system, our international financial services, sir, which they encouraged us to get in the late 1970s. And at every step, shifting of a goalpost, sir, and blacklisting us, sir. No white list, blacklist us, sir. All of that part of the psyche and the symbolism to keep black people down, to keep us at the bottom, because there's still this inherent feeling among a lot of white people that they are superior to black people, sir. This racism that has to be abolished, sir. And that is why, sir, I commend the honourable member for St. Michael's South East, sir, and the Prime Minister, for even at this time of COVID, when Barbados out $500 million, $500 million, sir, that the issue of state-funded University of the West Indies education is not on the table, sir, because we maintaining that, because poor black people must get free education or education paid by the state, sir. We have to find the money, sir. Don't mind we $500 million out now. Under the last government, the first thing they did after the 2013 election came to Parliament, we finished funding state education, look for it on your own. Hundreds of black people had to drop out of university, even when they were in already or couldn't go to university, sir. And the effects of that still continuing today and will continue, sir, for a good many years.
You have a member wind up, please.
Yes, sir, I thank you. So, sir, this is where we are at. We have to eradicate, sir, the many negative racial legacies that were deprived from centuries of criminal enslavement of Africans and people of African descent, sir, as this resolution has very wisely stated, sir, and that we in Barbados stand, sir, the last paragraph says, to be part of global initiative in eradicating racism in general and anti-black racism in particular, once and for all, sir. The time must come, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, that people must be judged by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin, sir. And, sir, this Parliament, sir, as I said, stands nobly today, debating a potentially sensitive issue, sir, but an issue in which all people in Barbados, sir, have to join hands together, sir. It isn't them and us, it is all people, every right-thinking person in Barbados has to collide their brains, their efforts, their wills on this particular point, sir, and condemn racism wherever it shows its ugly face, wherever in the world. I'm obliged to you, sir.